Tel Aviv, 1957. Three men sit in an unmarked office reviewing photographs of Nazi war criminals living comfortably in South America. One of them slides a file across the table. Inside is a proposal that will transform Israeli intelligence forever. Create a specialized unit with one purpose: eliminate threats that conventional warfare cannot reach. No trials, no publicity, no mercy. The proposal is approved within 48 hours. What follows is the construction of the world's most efficient killing machine. An organization so secretive that even most Mossad officers don't know it exists, and so deadly that intelligence services worldwide study its methods while publicly condemning its actions. Before we dive in, hit subscribe to Mossad Classified. This channel uncovers secret missions, intelligence tactics, and covert history they never meant for the public to see. The unit doesn't have an official name that appears in government documents. Among those cleared to know it exists, it's called Caesarea. Within Caesarea operates an even more classified sub-unit referred to only as Kidon, Hebrew for bayonet. These operatives are the ones who actually pull triggers, plant bombs, and make people disappear. Their existence is never acknowledged. Their successes are never celebrated publicly, and their failures are buried so deeply that even when operations go catastrophically wrong, the unit itself remains invisible. Building Kidon required rethinking everything about military special operations and intelligence work. Traditional special forces train soldiers to operate in war zones, to conduct raids, to fight their way out of bad situations. But Kidon's mission was different. Its operatives needed to function in peacetime environments, in foreign cities where combat would expose them immediately. They had to kill precisely and quietly, then disappear before local authorities even understood what happened. This required a completely different skill set and psychological profile. The recruitment process begins by identifying candidates within Israel's elite military units. Sayeret Matkal, the General Staff Reconnaissance Unit. Shayetet 13, the Naval Commandos. Soldiers who have proven themselves under fire, who can function under pressure, who follow orders without hesitation. But combat ability alone doesn't qualify someone for Kidon. The screeners look for additional traits: language aptitude, cultural flexibility, the capacity to live convincingly under false identity. And something harder to define, but absolutely essential: the psychological detachment necessary to kill in cold blood and move on without breaking. Only 1 in 20 candidates who enter preliminary screening makes it through the initial evaluation. The rejection rate is deliberate. Caesarea demands perfection because a single compromised operative can expose networks built over decades. Screeners conduct extensive psychological evaluations, measuring not just intelligence and emotional stability, but deeper personality characteristics. They're looking for people who can compartmentalize completely, who don't require external validation, who can endure isolation without deteriorating mentally. Candidates who pass initial screening enter training that lasts between 2 and 3 years. The program is designed to transform elite soldiers into something different entirely. They learn tradecraft first, surveillance and counter-surveillance. How to track targets through cities without being detected. How to recognize when they are being followed. How to disappear into crowds. They study disguise and cover identity, spending months building fictional backgrounds that can withstand investigation. They memorize details about places they've never been, jobs they've never held, people they've never met, until those lies become indistinguishable from memory. During one training exercise, candidates must maintain a false identity for 3 months while living in a foreign city. Instructors hire local investigators to probe their backgrounds. The trainees must respond naturally to unexpected questions about their fabricated pasts, maintain employment under false credentials, and build social relationships without slipping once. A single inconsistency results in immediate failure and disqualification from the program. The psychological pressure is immense. living a lie every waking moment, while knowing that trained professionals are actively trying to expose you creates a stress that most people simply cannot sustain. Language training is intensive and continuous. Kidon operatives typically speak at least 3 languages fluently beyond Hebrew. Arabic is mandatory. English and French are common. Russian, Spanish depending on projected operational environments. But fluency means more than vocabulary and grammar. It means absorbing accent, slang, cultural references. The goal is passing for native speakers, not just communicating effectively. An operative might spend 6 months immersed in Parisian culture, living in France, working mundane jobs, until the mannerisms and speech patterns are internalized completely. The psychological conditioning is the most controversial and least discussed aspect of training. Intelligence psychologists work with candidates to build compartmentalization skills, the ability to separate operational identity from personal identity, to commit acts of violence without emotional aftermath, to maintain functionality under isolation and stress. Some candidates break during this phase, developing anxiety disorders or identity confusion. Those individuals are quietly reassigned to other Mossad divisions. The ones who pass have demonstrated something rarer, the capacity to kill as a professional function, to view targets as problems rather than people, and to sleep soundly afterward. Weapons training goes beyond basic marksmanship to cover specialized killing techniques. Close-range pistol work with suppressors, where a single headshot must kill instantly and quietly. Knife fighting for situations where gunfire is impossible. Bare-handed killing methods that leave no weapons evidence. Each technique is practiced thousands of times until it becomes muscle memory reaction faster than thought. Operatives train with various firearms because they often must acquire weapons locally rather than bringing them across borders. They learn to adapt to whatever's available, from sophisticated military equipment to crude improvised weapons. The training includes scenarios that simulate real operations with brutal realism. Operatives must track mock targets through European cities while avoiding surveillance teams representing local security services. They must plan assassinations with actual weapons and explosives, executing everything except the final kill. They conduct hot extractions, fleeing countries using false documents while instructors play hostile border guards trained to detect irregularities. These exercises reveal which candidates can perform under the unique pressures of assassination, work the combination of patience, precision, and ice-cold violence that defines the mission. Quick reminder, if you're still watching, you're exactly the type of person this channel is made for. Subscribe to Mossad Classified for deep intelligence breakdowns, psychological warfare analysis, and the hidden truths behind the world's most feared agency. The unit's operational methodology reflects decades of evolution and lessons learned from both successes and catastrophic failures. Every assassination is planned meticulously, with multiple contingency scenarios and abort criteria. Teams conduct surveillance for weeks or months before moving against a target. They map daily routines, identify vulnerabilities, assess security measures. The goal is finding the perfect moment, when the target is isolated, when escape routes are clear, when local security is minimal. Caesarea maintains safe houses in major cities worldwide. These aren't official Israeli facilities, but commercial properties rented under shell companies with no traceable connection to Israel. They serve as staging areas where operatives can prepare, store equipment, and extract to after operations. The houses are deliberately ordinary, located in middle-class neighborhoods where no one pays attention to quiet tenants who keep irregular hours. Each safe house contains emergency supplies, false documents, cash in multiple currencies, communications equipment, medical supplies, and weapons cached in concealed compartments that would survive police searches. Communications follow strict protocols designed to prevent compromise. Operatives use encrypted devices that appear as ordinary consumer electronics. Messages are compressed and transmitted in brief bursts that make interception difficult. Face-to-face meetings with handlers occur rarely and only in countries where Israeli intelligence has sufficient operational freedom to conduct counter-surveillance. Much of the operational communication happens through dead drops and pre-arranged signals rather than direct contact. Target selection follows a bureaucratic process that surprises people who imagine assassination decisions are made impulsively. Potential targets are nominated by intelligence analysts who track threats. The nominations include detailed dossiers, the individual's role in hostile organizations, their operational impact, their value to the enemy, and the strategic benefit of their elimination. These dossiers move up through Mossad's hierarchy to the director, then to the Prime Minister's office for final authorization. The process can take months. Some nominations are rejected as too risky or insufficiently valuable. Others are approved but placed on hold waiting for operational opportunities. Once a target is authorized, Caesarea begins operational planning. A small team is assembled specifically for this mission. The size varies based on complexity, sometimes just 2 operatives for a simple shooting. Other times a dozen for elaborate operations requiring surveillance, logistics, and multiple contingencies. Each operative knows only their specific role. Compartmentalization ensures that if one person is captured or compromised, they cannot expose the entire operation. The methods vary widely based on circumstances. Vehicle bombs offer standoff distance, allowing operatives to be far away when detonation occurs. The devices are built to appear like accidents or generic terrorism rather than sophisticated intelligence operations. Shape charges direct blast energy toward the target while minimizing collateral damage. Remote detonation systems are triggered from secure locations with clear sight lines to verify the target is present. The technical specialists who build these devices spend weeks testing configurations to ensure the explosive force is calibrated perfectly lethal to the target, but contained enough to avoid mass casualties that would trigger international outrage. Shootings are riskier because they require operatives to be physically close to targets, but they offer precision that explosives cannot match. Suppressed pistols are preferred small caliber rounds that won't over-penetrate, weapons that can be concealed easily and disposed of quickly. The technique is simple: approach from behind, 2 shots to the head, walk away at normal pace. The entire action takes 3 seconds. Operatives train this scenario endlessly until hesitation is eliminated and execution is mechanical. The walk after the kill is almost more important than the kill itself. Running triggers pursuit instincts. Walking calmly makes witnesses uncertain about what they actually saw. Poisoning offers maximum deniability if executed properly. The substances used are often designed to mimic natural causes: heart attacks, strokes, illnesses. Delivery methods range from contaminated food to aerosol dispersal to direct injection. The challenge is access, getting close enough to administer the poison without being observed or remembered. This often requires extensive preparation, sometimes infiltrating the target's inner circle through romantic relationships or employment. Some operations take years to set up, with operatives living entire false lives just to get within arm's reach of a single target. The extraction phase is often more dangerous than the kill itself. After a target is eliminated, local authorities begin investigating immediately. Security services review surveillance footage, interview witnesses, check border crossings. Kidon operatives must disappear completely before these investigations gain momentum. They leave countries using different identities than they entered with, traveling circuitous routes through multiple nations to obscure trails. Safe houses provide temporary shelter while waiting for heat to diminish. False documentation allows passage through border controls that might be looking for people matching descriptions. Failed operations reveal more about the unit than successes. The most infamous failure occurred in Lillehammer, Norway in 1973. Operatives tracked what they believed was a Black September terrorist to the small Norwegian town. They shot him in front of his pregnant wife. But the victim was Ahmed Bouchiki, a Moroccan waiter with no connection to terrorism. The mistake resulted from poor intelligence and inadequate verification. Several operatives were arrested, exposed, and imprisoned. The scandal forced Mossad to completely restructure Caesarea's verification protocols. Now, multiple independent sources must confirm identity before authorization to kill is granted. The Lillehammer disaster became mandatory study material for every Kidon trainee, a permanent reminder that certainty must be absolute before pulling the trigger. Despite this embarrassment, the unit has accumulated an extraordinary operational record. Dozens of successful eliminations across Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. High-value targets removed with surgical precision. Terror networks disrupted through decapitation of leadership. The body count is classified, but intelligence analysts estimate Kidon has conducted well over 100 successful operations since its creation. The unit's effectiveness comes partly from Israel's willingness to accept diplomatic consequences. Most nations publicly condemn assassinations while privately conducting them. Israel adds a layer of deniability, but doesn't apologize when operations become public. This acceptance of reputational costs gives Kidon operational freedom that other intelligence services assassination units don't enjoy. Operatives know their government will neither confirm nor deny their actions, will provide legal support if they're captured, and will work tirelessly to secure their release. The ethical questions surrounding Caesarea and Kidon are profound and unresolved. Supporters argue targeted killings are more precise than military operations, that eliminating specific individuals who orchestrate terrorism saves innocent lives, and that Israel faces existential threats requiring methods conventional law enforcement cannot address. From this perspective, Kidon operatives are soldiers fighting a war where battlefields are city streets and enemies hide among civilians. The alternative, doing nothing, would result in more deaths from successful terrorist attacks. Critics counter that extrajudicial execution violates fundamental legal principles that distinguish democracies from authoritarian regimes. They argue Israel acts as judge, jury, and executioner without due process, that innocent people are sometimes killed through mistaken identity or collateral damage, and that assassinations don't actually eliminate threats, but simply create new enemies seeking revenge. From this perspective, Kidon represents the moral compromise Israel has made in pursuing security at the cost of adhering to international norms. The psychological cost on operatives themselves is rarely discussed but significant. Intelligence services provide psychological support, but the fundamental reality remains: these individuals have killed multiple people, often up close, often in ways that required looking victims in the eyes. Retired operatives describe the weight differently. Some claim professional detachment makes it manageable, that viewing targets as threats rather than humans creates necessary distance. Others admit to nightmares, to faces that won't fade, to moments of doubt that surface years after missions are completed. The unit has protocols for retiring operatives who show signs of breaking, quietly reassigning them to desk work or encouraging early retirement with pensions that buy silence. Some former operatives transition back to civilian life, taking jobs in security or business where their skills translate to legal applications. Others struggle, developing substance abuse problems, relationship difficulties, or identity confusion that stems from years of living lies and committing state-sanctioned murder. The future of Caesarea and Kidon remains as classified as their past. Technology changes some operational parameters. Ubiquitous surveillance cameras make traditional methods riskier. Biometric identification at borders complicates identity fraud. Facial recognition systems create databases that can track operatives across countries and years. But human nature remains constant. People still have routines, vulnerabilities, moments of inattention. And as methods change, so does the unit. Operatives now train in cyber infiltration, learning to compromise digital security systems. They study drone technology for remote eliminations. They develop methods that leave no physical evidence, no witnesses, nothing but a death that appears completely natural. As long as states face threats from individuals who can't be reached through conventional means, assassination units will exist. And as long as such units exist, Mossad's Kidon will likely remain the standard others measure against and fail to match. If this story kept you watching, then don't just leave, join the inner circle. Subscribe to Mossad Classified and turn future episodes into automatic intel drops. So, here's what should keep you awake at night. Somewhere in the world right now, a person is being watched by people they'll never notice. Their routines are being logged. Their vulnerabilities are being catalogued. And a decision has already been made about when and how they'll die. The watchers look like tourists, business travelers, ordinary citizens. They blend into airports and cafes and hotel lobbies. They're trained to kill with clinical efficiency and vanish without trace. And the most terrifying part: you'd never know if you were the one being watched until the moment it was already too late.